stream
everyone,
this
welcome
live.
back to Nerd Bible Podcast with our special guest, the first special guest of... Oh, my throat is just fucked, isn't it? Our first special guest of Season 1 of Doctor Whom. It's Andy Kemp.
Hello.
It's
Thank you for having me back.
It is so good. It's always good to have you on, Andy. We always have a laugh and probably ramble for a bit too long. So enjoy, everyone.
Literally, Phil, before we started recording, Phil literally, as I was setting up, was like, how long do you reckon the recording's going to be? Because he finishes work in an hour. And I was like, well, it's me and George, so we're probably going to ramble a lot. And he went,
Yes.
All right, I'll start on
today. We will obviously be talking about episode 3 of season 1. Boom. Why are you talking about it so late? Go back and listen to the first one. I forgot I was on holiday, so this balances it out. So they're all going to be a week out of whack. But I'm George. That's Connor.
Yep,
we're joined by our esteemed guest Andy to talk about Doctor Who. So if any news has happened in the world, fuck it, we don't care. It's all about 45 minutes of television on BBC One or iPlayer if you're watching it at midnight.
I was going to say, or iPlayer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you watched them all at midnight or like normal, Andy? How are you watching it so far?
So the first 2 episodes we watched at midnight release because the following evening was going to be Eurovision and we were having people over, so it was the only chance we'd have gotten before Sunday, really.
Yeah.
Because I now work Saturday mornings, like every Saturday morning, so yeah, I wouldn't have had a chance otherwise. And then for this last one, I could have waited until Saturday night, but because I knew Moffat had written it, I was... And bear in mind, I have to be up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday now. It got to midnight, and I just looked at Phil and I went, I want to put Doctor Who on. I don't want to wait. So we watched it at midnight release.
Yeah, good. Commitment.
I so far have watched them all on iPlayer about 2 days later, so...
I've done them on iPlayer at 6 o'clock roughly broadcast time, although this episode 3's one I was about 45 minutes later, so nearly 45 out of sync.
I don't have the energy to stay up till midnight. If my child is asleep, then I need to go to sleep. Just savor the time I have.
Just get the sleep that you can.
Literally, that is all it is. Like the first 2, I was tempted, and then I was like, "Oh, they're all on iPlayer at midnight." And then I think I was about 20 minutes late on broadcast, so I just waited and then watched it on iPlayer after. And then literally before Connor got here, I just finished watching it again, just so I could make sure that I liked it as much as I did. Spoiler alert, I did.
What a terrible episode. It's a facade. What a terrible episode.
What are your feelings, Andy, so far about season 1? Because obviously we had you on for the specials, so we roughly know where you're at for that. So Church and Ruby Road onwards, we haven't heard from you from.
I'm worried I'm going to sound like I'm being overly positive all the time, but like I for the most part, I do have some criticisms, but for the most part, I am enjoying the new season. It feels like, I mean, this won't come as a surprise because we've discussed the Witch career in depth together, but like this feels like something of a return to what Doctor Who felt like when I was like really invested in it.
Yeah,
it's not quite reaching the same levels of like the Capaldi era, but I am invested more so now than I think I was for the majority of the Chibnall era. As much as, I've gone on record as, not hating it and, I do enjoy it for what it is, I'm already more invested in this era than I was the last one.
Cool.
Yeah. Positive. Out of the Shooty Gatwa episode, or Unshooty, because we've been saying it wrong, thanks to TikTok.
Well, thanks to Shooty himself.
Yeah, well, he said he was only 26 when he knew how to say his name.
Did his mum, correct him or something?
Yeah, she rang him.
I mean, that's got to be relatable, though. Imagine we all said our names wrong. How dare you say your name like that? I don't know how you can say George wrong, personally.
Well,
or Connor. Connor.
You can punch someone in the mouth.
George.
Out of the 15 Doctor episodes, how are you? Where are they? What's your favourite? Who are you? Where are you? And what am I?
Spoiler alert for this podcast. This one's definitely my favourite so far.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Without a shadow of a doubt, this is my favourite one so far. Not Giggle, that was 60th. I keep doing this. Devil's Cord and Ruby Road keep kind of swapping. I think I like Devil's Cord more. I feel like Devil's Cord is going to be an episode that I'm going to rewatch a lot more often, just because there was a lot about it that I thoroughly enjoyed, even if I didn't think it was perfect.
Yeah.
Space Babies, however, I think is one of RTD's worst episodes.
Yeah,
You were saying that
I
before we
kind of
started.
agree. We kind of did like a quick ranking of, including the 60th specials, like roughly where I was at. And out of everything we've seen thus far, I would put Space Babies at the bottom out of the 6,
Yeah,
7.
same.
We've had.
I was very critical of the Star Beast, but at least I saw what it was going for, and I could enjoy it for what it was, even if I didn't think it was great. Space Babies literally had 2 things that I enjoyed about it, and that was it.
None of them are the babies. Neither of them are the
Oh
babies.
god, no, they were fucking creepy.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That was
Some
like
of the mouth. I mean, we all moan about CGI nowadays, but some of the camera shots and the mouth movements did kind of weird me out. And it's just the fact they sounded like 50-year-old blokes in.
it was really bizarre. Me and Phil both looked at each other and was like, this is very Uncanny Valley. I don't like this.
Yeah. It kind of. I know. Church and Ruby Road is like the Rose episode. It's like the welcome to the new era. But of course, there's going to be a portion of the audience that'll be like, Christmas is out of season. I'm just going to watch Series 1, Episode 1, Series 14 if you're a regular fan and listener, obviously. First impressions. Oh my god, the show's about babies. So I imagine a good chunk of the audience that hadn't caught up or done their homework prior would have been like, what on earth is this episode?
Yeah, in my headcanon, Church on Ruby Road is episode 1 of the series because
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Space Babies feels like, and I remember my friend Lizzie saying this as well. This is the first time she's like properly watched Doctor Who in years. Like she fell off sort of at the end of the Capaldi era. She was not here for any of the Whittaker stuff. So this is like this is the first time she's really been joining in again for a while. Even she was like, this feels like that really weird, very boring mid-season episode. And like, I agreed. It felt it gave me Saranga Conundrum vibes, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
God.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Good God. What a throwback.
And we all know how much I don't like that episode, so
Go back to our 3-part Jodie Whittaker retrospective for that one.
But I think when comparing it to like RTD's other weakest episodes, Love and Monsters at least has some redeeming factors that I will watch it again for. Like I genuinely think the Linda gang are actually really nice and likable people. Like the cast themselves, outside of Peter Kay being very silly, but like I actually this is such a tangent now. Sorry, we're going on a Love and Monsters tangent. I actually think Peter Kay was. I think Peter Kay was more sinister as the human than he was when he was revealed as the Absorbaloff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
he was just being Peter Kay.
Yeah, exactly. When he didn't have all the prosthetics and the makeup and stuff, I actually thought his character was way more intimidating. But yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. At least Love and Monsters has like Jackie. That's as a Jackie stan. That is a great Jackie episode.
Many Eltons.
Here I am now. What is it now? It's oh fuck! I was going to make a reference to a line now, and I've completely forgotten what it is now. Oh, that's it. It's tell you what, Elton. Here we are, complete strangers, and I'm flashing you me knickers. Yeah. Oh, I love Jackie. She's great.
And
did RTD write Fear Her as well? I forget.
You what, mate?
Did RTD write Fear Her as well? I forget.
I think so. That piece of shit. Connor's googling it now.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. I need to know.
I do as well.
So yeah, Space Babies are your least favourite. Devil's Called, obviously, we were originally going to have you on for until it was suddenly a 2-part. We're going to stream it at midnight. So you chose the Moffat episode because, as we know, Stephen Moffat is your favourite. The Moffat era is your favourite era of Doctor Who?
Oh yeah, by far, yeah.
And your favourite Doctor is, for those at home that haven't played along?
11! Woo!
Oh, correct. Those are the correct answers.
You're not the weakest.
I don't know if we've ever done like top 5 Doctors, but it's 11, closely followed by 12, then 7, then 4, and then honestly, it goes between 10 and 13.
Big up the Scots. Top 3.
Yeah.
All the Scots.
No, Matt's not Scot.
14.
I mean, I don't think we've had enough time with him yet to sort of rank him.
No, Big Finish
to
needs to release 2 or
put him in
3
a
box sets
ranking?
before we can get an in-depth view of the 14th Doctor.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's amazing. I love him, and he can do whatever he wants to me. Yeah.
Oh.
David, if you're listening.
Oh wait, no, sorry, 14. I thought you meant 15. Oh shit. 14.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
They can both have a go.
I forgot that the 14th Doctor was a separate thing then. No, actually, 14 feels like... I don't know, I actually might prefer 14 over 10, which is funny because he only had 3 episodes. But I think, I don't know, 10... And Phil said this the other day when we were watching a 10 episode, and I do agree with him, is that 10 felt quite cocky in parts, which obviously was part of his character.
Oh, yes.
But like I kind of made him quite unlikable sometimes. Whereas I think 14, because 14 was so unsure of himself and what was going on, that was kind of stripped away, and it kind of allowed David to play something different, which was nice to see.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it. I don't know. It's David and David. They're the same man. Unfortunately, if they could actually do the whole,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
If
they could actually split the incarnations properly, then yeah. But I can't not view David Tennant as David Tennant 2.0. So there's no difference at the minute between 10 and 14 for me.
I think there was points where there was no difference, but there's the obvious difference that David Tennant is a much better actor in 2023 than he was when he left in 2010. Like, he's fucking phenomenal. Let's not waste any more time. The benefit of this being a week late is that spoilers. So if you've not watched the episode, what the fuck are you doing at home? You there?
You boomers.
Stop watching Doctor Who Unleashed and watch the episode first. Doctor Who, boom.
Bang. Wallop.
Boom, bang, wallop, crash. Stephen Moffat's triumphant return to Doctor Who.
Before we get fully into this episode, I just want to check: am I still contractually allowed to have my 10-minute gush about Jinx Monsoon later in the recording?
You know what? Do you want to start with the Jinx or end with the Jinx?
Sure, we'll start it. We'll get it out of the way now because then I can fully focus on Boom. Oh my god.
We were originally obviously meant to have Andy in for this, so fire away, dear boy.
Oh yeah. So for those of you who don't know, originally I was meant to be on for The Devil's Cord, and it was specifically because George knew how excited I was for Jinx Monsoon to be in Doctor Who. For those of you who haven't seen any of my personal Twitter or anything, I love Drag Race. Drag Race it's shit, but it's like good shit. It's like very enjoyable shit. And as a queer person, it's one of the few shows that like really celebrates us and our community and what we do and like, you know, our art and stuff like that. So I'm very attached to Drag Race, even though I know it is a very flawed show. And Jinx is without a doubt one of the most remembered and iconic queens to ever be on Drag Race. So when it was announced that she was going to be on Doctor Who, I pretty much cried. I was so happy. It was just, was it just after? No, it was about a year after she also won for the second time. So like, it was just, yeah, a lot of feelings happened when Jinx was announced as being in Doctor Who. And I knew she'd be great because I've seen her on Drag Race. I've seen her in other stuff. I know she can act. I know she can sing. I know how talented she is. So yeah, getting to see her play one of the most fun and camp villains we have had in a long time was just absolutely delightful. I was smiling from ear to ear pretty much the entire time Jinx was on screen during The Devil's Cord, and I genuinely think that is accurate. I just was so happy throughout the entire thing. It brought me so much joy seeing this brilliant, queer, like eccentric performer just essentially just being allowed to chew the scenery for 40 minutes was just a joy to watch. That episode was, I think, because I have rewatched it once since it aired, I think going into when I first finished it, I was like so blinded by how much I loved her and her performance. And another kind of side thing for the Devil's Cord in particular is that because I'm a musician, it kind of touched me in a way that maybe it won't for other people, because I'm a person who is not only very responsive to listening to music, but I play music, I sing all the time. Like I'm in a band, so like it meant a lot to me, kind of having such a music-centered episode. So like when it first finished, I was just completely blindsided by how much that episode was just made for me, and then sort of on a rewatch, I kind of realized, okay, no, there are some bits that maybe aren't as good as I thought they were on a first watch, but I'd still give it a solid 8. Like, I genuinely loved The Devil's Chord. I thought it was great fun. And I genuinely can't think of anyone who could have been Maestro better than Jinx, just because she's so well suited to the part. Slightly, I will say sometimes the acting was slightly over dramatic. Like, there was a bit too much shouting. I would have liked there to be more layers in places, but overall, absolutely the most fun and camp villain we've had in Doctor Who for a very long time, and I was very happy.
One of the best performances in a while, in general, whether it was a hero character, companion, God forbid, or anything. I just think, one of the best performances in the show, period, for like you say, for a very, very, very long time.
And I love that, not Moffat, I love that RTD basically confirmed that he purposely didn't kill her off in the hopes that, maybe someday we'd get to see her again. Oh, I think the character's them, actually, isn't it? Sorry. I think the character's them, so I should say them. But it was it was delightful. It was so good. I was so happy watching that episode. Maybe not quite as happy as I was with this episode, however, because my God, Boom was Boom was an episode.
Boom was an episode. Boom was a banger.
Connor, do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. I don't exactly know how I'm going to start off with Boom, apart from saying, it's spoilers, cat out the back. This episode was pretty damn amazing. I know we just heard about The Devil's Chord, and we praised that last week / the week before. But Boom is now, for us, but not by the time you're listening, the current episode. Boom was just a banger of an episode. It was incredible. And all we got was the Doctor of the landmines, and it could have gone in absolutely any direction. It could have been the most sort of generic, plainest reveal, and it could have been like that's how the Doctor gets out of this conundrum, but it felt larger than life. I'd say Boom. It was all the side stories, like again, I'm gonna skip over names because I can't think on the spot, but like the little girl and her dad's the soldier woman who I didn't realize was cast as the new companion next season. She was in it, which was pretty mad, because I was totally unaware who she was until the internet blew up after the episode aired. Everyone was amazing in that episode. In Boom as well. I loved, again, not to borrow that there's always a twist at the end, but I didn't see this sort of twist coming in this particular script. But Devil's Chord and Boom, 2 banger episodes back to back. If only, I feel like this season of Doctor Who is on a solid upward trajectory. Less space babies, more Devil Boom Kablam chords.
Devil Boom Kablam chords.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want in this season. Hopefully.
How did you get that into my porn tape?
Very good. Devil's Pawns. Devil's Pawns. Andy, your expectation coming into this, you are obviously the most Moffat-y of all of us. Were you sort of apprehensive? Like, did you think there's no way Moffat can sort of write good Doctor Who again?
His magic is gone.
Or was like, you just like, no, he's going to be exactly like he was in RTD Era 1? Or like, what was you expecting, and did this live up to it?
I was in two minds, because obviously when it was announced that Moffat had written an episode for this series, I squealed in delight. I was just like, oh my God, he's back! Ah! I was so happy. But at the same time, going into the episode, and especially within the first 10 minutes, I was like, is he going to stick this landing? Because this is a very interesting setup. And I'd kind of gathered from, I don't know if you guys saw the little teaser that Moffat himself filmed that went out the day the episode was airing, and it was him basically saying my idea for this episode was, what if we could take away one thing that the Doctor always has, and obviously it was hinting to running. So I'd kind of gathered that, okay, this entire episode is going to be 15 just stood on a landmine. But as it was going on, I was kind of like, where's he going to go with this? Please tell me you can stick the landing. Because I was like, I was worried that how hyped I was for Steven to return was going to be sort of a bar too high, almost. And then the episode went in ways that I wasn't expecting, in kind of spoilers for later on, but like the whole reveal that there wasn't a war, there wasn't any Castarians, there wasn't a villain to fight, it was all them. That was... I kind of got that, I kind of realised that's where it was going before it was properly revealed, but I was still almost surprised that Moffat chose to go down that route, but very happy that he did. And yeah, it's I'd gone into it with very high expectations because it was Moffat and because of how much I loved him at his era. And then as the episode went on, I thought it was never going to live up to the expectations that I had. And then it somehow ended up doing that, and I left the episode being like, okay, I'm fully on board with this season now. This is what I wanted.
Yeah, honestly, the last two have been so good. If 73 yards, I mean, you guys would have known by the time this episode comes out, but if 73 yards turns out to be on a downward slope, then, oh well, it was fun while it lasted. Honestly, this season, aside from Space Baby's awkward launch, because that was a mid-season episode, 2 bangers. Just, I want more bangers, I want more boomers, and I just want great Doctor Who, more importantly. We all do. And Boom was just a boomer. It was great. I don't know. I can't avoid the boom pun. I'm sorry.
It was great.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry, Andy, go on. What was you going to say? You are the guest.
No, I was just gonna say, because I think it was you who asked me, George, but like, I think we'd all kind of come to a consensus that up until before Church of Ruby Road, Wild Blue Yonder was by far the best of the specials.
Yes.
Where do you guys fall on the debate of which is better out of this and Wild Blue Yonder?
At the moment, I'm inclined to say this.
I concur. Yes, I think so.
Because Wild Blue Yonder feels like a Moffat episode anyway.
Without being
and I think it's midnight again, but like on a better budget. And I just think, like, I really don't want to sound like a prick or ungrateful or like I've been spoiled my whole life. But I feel like Moffat just gets Doctor Who. Like, I feel like he like bleeds Doctor Who. Like, he exudes it, he breathes it in, he eats, sleeps, raves, repeats it. Like, it's just ingrained into his DNA. Like when like River was conceived on the TARDIS, that man was conceived in the time vortex itself.
Yeah.
Like, as he's written the most episodes of anyone of Doctor Who ever, and there's a reason for that. Like, I know there's, half-assed it, and making that and Sherlock at the same time in the latter stages didn't help. But this man can do the Doctor like no one else can. Like, he can turn what will seem like a gimmick into like one of the most like, one of the best think pieces of the character. Like, in that moment, it was like I felt like the 15th Doctor. Like, I like Ncuti, like everything I've seen him in prior to this, like the episodes we've had of him so far, nothing compares to Boom, because I got the character, I got him. The facade was dropped. We saw the real Time Lord. We saw what he's about, his relationship with Ruby. It all come together for me and was like, it almost, I feel like you could have swapped this with Devil's Called. Because like the second episode conventionally of the series, you kind of got to understand why the Doctor and the Companion are together. And this was it. And also because I feel like, we should have saved such a great episode like Devil's Cord for like, later on in the series and not fucking blown it in the first fucking 2-pack that we did. Or just like, taking out Space Babies and just had these two, it would have been great.
So I was going to say, I feel like if Space Babies had aired by itself and that would have been the only episode that dropped in, like, for the big opener of the series, I think I'd have been so disappointed.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
But then you would have been so happy for the next 2 weeks.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, but then I would have had an entire week of being sat there feeling like, oh god, this series is going to be shit, isn't it? Like,
and then you
if
would have
this
been
is
like,
what
nope, it's
RTD.
not. Because even by the trailer for next week, like even that looks fucking interesting as well.
Yeah,
it was just nice to have him back and not fuck it up. Like everyone is like the universe and the whole Twitter sphere has hoped that Stephen Moffat is still shit at Doctor Who, which he never really has been. He's just he took his eye off the ball, I think, in the latter stages. But even then, he still wrote, World Enough and Time, Doctor Falls. We'll forget about Twice Upon a Time, and all that shit. The pilot was great. Like, there's so many good stories in that man's head, and it was nice because, like you were saying earlier, Andy, like it felt like how Doctor Who felt when it was relevant to you when you were younger, and that's what it was. We had a Doctor Who era run by Russell T Davies, and Stephen Moffat has written a banger of an episode, and it just felt right.
Yeah. It's so funny to me seeing how many people on Twitter like used to like shit all over Moffat and be like, oh no, he was basically just say he was a shit showrunner. He really lost his edge. He was only good when he wrote for RTD, and then he's come back once again, outshone Russell T Davies in his own series. And everyone's going, oh, Moffat's brilliant. I wish he'd come back as a showrunner. It's like, well, you weren't saying this before, were you?
Yeah.
You never know what you've got until it's gone.
Exactly.
The thing with Moffat as well is, and I stand by this, I could debate it on series 2, but outside of that, I fully stand by this. I think Moffat has written the best episode of every single series of Doctor Who he's ever written for, personally. Like, series 1, Empty Cell Doctor Dancers, best story of that series.
Yeah.
Series 2, so I love Girl in the Fireplace, but I understand it's kind of a bit more critically analysed nowadays, and I do see an argument where the Satan Pit 2-parter can take it, because that is a fucking... I rewatched that last week, and my god, that episode has aged like a fine wine. It's so good.
I think it could be that, or it could also be Tooth and Claw as well.
Really?
I love Tooth and Claw. I will fucking bat for that shit any day.
I really enjoy Tooth and Claw, but I've never really seen it as like a top contender in an episode. School Reunion, I could kind of see an argument for.
Yeah, but nostalgia drives us most of the way. I feel like
that is fair.
So, like, New Earth is dog shit, and then getting Tooth and Claw, and then School Reunion, and then Girl in the Fireplace.
And then Girl in the Fireplace.
Whoa, that's fucking amazing.
I've said this for a few years now. Series 2 really is a series of low lows and high highs. There's very few episodes that are just middling for Series 2. It's either great or bad.
Yes.
Awkward. Yeah.
A bit like, because we've made this argument before, Andy. I don't know if you agree. We've probably made it with you as well. Like, the RTD era 1 was like it was never lower than a 6 out of 10, never higher really, except in a few instances, than an 8 out of 10. It was consistent. It was a baseline level of quality. David was always, a baseline level of like really good at his job. Whereas Moffat took more risks, but I think peaked higher, but also did dip lower. Like he had higher highs and lower lows throughout his era. But the higher highs of the joy gave me my favorite Doctor and my favorite incarnation of the show. So I'll be forever thankful for that.
I think I can agree with that. But again, I'd argue that most of the lower lows of the Moffat era weren't even written by Moffat. I know he has a hand in everything because he was the showrunner, but like...
And he's very clever. I'm very clever at my job.
In the Forest of the Night is dog shit, but like he didn't write that.
He also did try and leave like 4 times by then, so...
But yeah, I don't think I need to go through every series, but yeah, like he...
Fuck it, let's go for every series. This is what we want you for, Andy.
All right, Blake,
about Doctor Who.
I know people will probably argue this nowadays because for some reason people now seem to think Blink isn't as good as it was. I watched it the other week. Blink is still a stellar episode. It is still the best episode of Series 3 in my opinion. It's just so well done.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you're the same, but like when someone says like a movie's really good and sometimes you can be turned off from seeing it, I think that and like the good like reviews and the awards that Blink got, because it was one of the first Doctor Who episodes to be like recognised. Like, didn't it get him his first Hugo Award and stuff like that?
I think so.
Like,
yeah.
It's one of those that I think's maybe like it's cool to not like Blink, you know, a bit like, oh, I hate this film, but everyone's talking about it and watching it, so I'm just going to hate on it, kind of thing.
Yeah, to be different, man.
But yeah,
Forest for the Dead. Do you think that's the best of Series 4?
Yeah.
What, two-parter wise, or are we just
Really?
talking
Midnight.
Well,
Exit.
I have. No, I'd still rather watch. Okay, Midnight is the other contender, but if I were to pick an episode to watch, I would rather watch the Library 2-parter than Midnight.
Yeah.
But I will accept an argument where Midnight could also be the winner. My main argument for Series 4 is, I mean, I think I'm very much in the minority here. I am not as big a fan as the Series 4 finale as most people. I don't dislike it. I still think it's very good, but I do think it's one of RTD's weaker finales.
Yep. I agree. 100%.
I'm so happy that you disagree with me there, because most people, when I say that, are like, what?
get the keyboards out? How dare you?
Get the Stephen Moffat keyboard. No, because a lot of people always, you know, sing the praises of Series 4 and Series 1. I think Series 3 has a higher quality of episodes. I know there's the good, like, you get the run of, like, the library to the end of Series 4 is a really good run. But I think, you know, Turn Left's amazing. Like, that is, like, the two-parter then kind of drops off after that, because it is 90% first watch. And I think, as good as it is, like you say, when you repeat viewings of Journey's End, Stolen Earth, whichever, it's the other way around, I think, you lose the instant impact of, wait, I watched that kids show on CBBC. Wait, I've seen that adult show on BBC 3 and sometimes BBC 2 and BBC 1 where they get their penis out and it's questionable. Oh my God, they're all in one show. And it's the Avengers effect. And it's like, whereas that has stood the test of time, this is like, oh, it's very 2008.
If we're talking best episode in Series 4, I always like Turn Left. I could watch Donna indicate left forever and go round and round, roundabout. I can always watch that episode.
Well, I'm interested to see what Andy has to say is Stephen Moffat's best episode for Series 5.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, right. Personally, the Pandora Chronicles of the Big Bang is my favourite Doctor Who episode.
Ever?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
But I will accept the argument that the 11th Hour or even Vincent and the Doctor could take it for Series 5.
Yeah, but he didn't write Vincent and the Doctor.
So he didn't write Vincent and the Doctor. So again, this is one instance where I can see another writer taking it for Series 5. But for me personally, I think the Pandora Chronicles and the Big Bang is such a perfect... And I mean, it's alongside World Enough and Time when the Doctor Falls as the best finale of Doctor Who for me, because I just think it's all so well done, and you can see just how much plotting and planning went into the series purely just from the part where the whole bit in Flesh and Stone where everyone was like, oh wait, his coat's back, that's a continuity error, and then oh no, wait, it was planned, it's a thing. Well, I think that alone shows just how well planned out Series 5 was, which is probably why it's my favourite series.
So it's not. So Beast Below is not your favourite.
No, that's probably I still like Beast Below, but I do think it's a weaker Moffat episode. I'd still give it a solid 7.5.
A bit in recent times. I think people are a bit more kinder on the Beast Below, especially Moffat himself, because he said he always felt that one wasn't as good as the 11th Hour. But you know, you're never going to follow up, in my opinion, one of the best post-regeneration stories of all time with another absolute 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. I would say 11th Hour is still the best, post-regeneration episode.
I think it's that and Spearhead for me, like in terms of all of Doctor Who ever.
Oh, Spearhead is good. Spearhead is good.
And Rose doesn't count because we don't know when he regenerated. Series 6, what's the best Moffat one?
Oh, I mean, probably... Oh. I mean, you've got the opening two-parter, which is pretty incredible. And you also have A Good Man Goes to War, which is pretty incredible. But okay, now this is a spanner in the works that I was not expecting, because if I think about it, Doctor's Wife and the Girl Who Waited may actually edge Moffat out in Series 6 for me.
Doctor's wife.
Oh,
Doctor's wife.
so you're saying that this is the one series that he didn't
Moffat
write?
didn't write the best episode. Well,
It's
you can
Lex
take
Luthor.
your wife, hide her from the battlefield, because this good man, aka me and George, both agree we good men will go to war, as that episode is the best episode. That's
I mean,
written by Moffat.
it's the contender. There are 4 stories that I think are in contention, and you could argue any of them, and I would not disagree with you really. Like Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Noon, Good Man Goes to War, Doctor's Wife, Girl Who Waited are all phenomenal episodes.
Can I give you my most underrated Doctor Who episode possibly ever, but definitely in Series 6?
Go on.
Night Terrors.
Yeah.
I like Night Terrors.
I fucking love Night Terrors. You're talking to yourself now, Elsie. That's the first sign of madness.
Oh my god! Right, no. I need to. Can I? Sorry, I know it's me, so you're expecting this. Can I go off on a quick tangent?
Of course.
Because me and Phil have a meme with Night Terrors now. I've explained some of the internal memes me and Phil have for different episodes. I think I've mentioned the Icy Patch one from Boomtown before to you guys. If I haven't, please do remind me, and I will inform you of the meme. Do you know the Icy Patch meme? I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, it slipped on an icy patch. It was a very icy patch.
No. Me and Phil made our own meme for it.
Oh, did you? Go for it.
Yeah, so it's a very dark joke. Please don't hate me. You can cut it in the edit if you want. So I don't want
This is
anyone to
all
come for me.
going in. This is what we
But
pay
you know,
Darkness.
but later on, when I think it's Kathy, the name of the character, when she's in the bathroom and she's about to go kill the reporter lady, who I think is called Kathy. She mentions about her husband, and Blonde has that moment of weakness where she's like, "Oh wait, I don't actually want to kill you," and she finds out that she's pregnant, and Blonde goes, "You're with child." Me and Phil were watching this, and I, without thinking, because my mouth kicks in before my brain does most of the time, just went, "Do you require an icy patch?" So that's how I mean with that. But with Night Terrors now, it's so stupid. You mentioned her, Elsie, the lady who's like, "It's the first sign of madness." Her, when she opens the door to the doctor and goes, "Is it about the bins?" Me and Phil fucking lost our shit when we watched that the other week, and I don't know why. But it's now become a meme for us. So if the bins need taken out, I'll just go up to him and go, "Phil, the bins!" It's a thing now.
I need new knees.
I need new knees. Oh, love her. Icon. What a cat. She's the one who waits. She better come back. Also, you briefly mentioned Sarah Jane. I'm going to put a pin in it for later, but remind me to come back to Sarah Jane, because I have to discuss the theories with you.
Warning, you must repatch the TARDIS telephone through the console. My favourite in that is, "Doctor, have you come to take me away?"
Oh, God.
I love that kid.
You know, one thing I would give Night Terrors credit for as well is they got an actually decent child actor for that role as well. I think he genuinely gives a pretty good performance, which you cannot say of some child actors in Doctor Who.
Especially in that same series, because that kid actor in fucking Rebel Flesh and Almost People, the hologram. Yeah.
Oh, God. Speaking of child actors, just bringing it back to Boom for a moment, what did you think of the girl who played Splice? Because I thought she actually was pretty good.
Absolutely fabulous, very good. Yeah, we've not really talked about Boom. Let's
we'll get
back around and just say Series 7. Fuck knows.
Series 7 what?
What was
name of the Doctor? Maybe Name of the Doctor or Angels Hit Manhattan.
Did he write A Town Called Mercy?
No, I was going to say that is the contender though. Toby Whithouse wrote A Town Called Mercy, and if you say that it's the best episode of Series 7, I will accept it because it is a banger.
I like Dinosaurs I like most of Series 7 Part 1. I would say Asylum of the Daleks is the cack, though.
I really like Asylum of the Daleks.
Yeah, maybe Moffat did write the best one in that because there's not much good stuff in Series 1. 7, fucking hell, can't even count. Series 8, Listen, probably.
Yeah.
Series 9.
The Caretaker. No, Series
fuck
8.
the kid. Have you seen who
Series 9 has 7 cents, so I feel like that's a no-brainer, really.
Obviously. Well, Series 10.
World of Death and Time when the Doctor Falls.
Yeah, And series
And boom.
season 1. This
Joy to the world? Question mark.
That's the Christmas.
Oh shit.
That would be the best one of season 2.
Yeah.
Right, so circling back around to Boom, Andy, get us back on track. The child actor, the whole situation,
I thought
the hologram father, that was fucking harrowing.
Yes, it really was. Oh god, there was so much good stuff in this episode. Fucking hell. The girl who played Splice was really good. Is it Ferrata who played Monday? Who's going to be the new companion? I don't know how to pronounce her name yet, but she was really good. I really liked her performance. There were 2 moments of this episode that genuinely made me gasp. One of them more so than the other, but when the guy who was into her suddenly got killed by the ambulance, that surprised me. I was like, oh shit, okay, that's a bit dark. But jumping back earlier in the episode, the moment where Ruby got shot, I don't think I've ever clutched my pearls harder. Good God. I was genuinely not expecting it. And the funny thing is I saw him pop up in the background and I was like, he's not good. I was like, Moffat's not gonna. And then he shot her and I was like, oh god, he is! Holy shit!
The rumours are true. Minnie is leaving the season. Yeah, well. Yeah, all sorts of emotions went through us at that moment. It was like, bloody hell. The bloody hell's going on here.
that whole situation.
And fucking dramatic. Fucking dramatic. The ambulance. I don't want to ever go in an ambulance. Not that I've been in an ambulance, but I don't ever want to meet an AI ambulance.
Once again, Moffat has gone out of his way to do a couple of things. He's made something that we see in everyday life creepy in ambulances now, of all things.
In landmines.
Landmines are already pretty creepy. And then he's like the whole sharp sting thoughts and prayers thing. Another catchphrase that's gonna, creep kids out for a bit.
Hooray!
I really like. One thing I was going to mention anyway with this episode is, I don't know if it's because he's just not written for the show in nearly 7 years, but Moffat seemed very angry in this script at multiple different things, and it seemed to come out all at once because he took a jab at war and the sort of industrial side of it and the business side of it. He took a jab at capitalism. He took a jab at privatized healthcare. Quite a few big topics that normally would get their own individual episode. He just went, no, fuck it, we'll just criticize them all here.
No, just kablam the script.
Just criticize it all at once, yes. But then Russell felt like that when we knew we were getting him back, because after watching years and years and It's a Sin, it was like, oh, Russell's coming back and he's angry at the Tories.
But I've not really felt that anger from him yet, whereas here it was very apparent.
He's let Stephen do all the work. He's let Stephen carry it.
The ammunition, yeah.
RTD's Palpatine, good, Stephen, good. Now kill them all. It's like we want a Palpatine edit of Russell's face, and Darth Vader is Stephen Moffat.
No, Stephen's there at the script with his pen, going, "Do I do it? Do I kill Ruby?" And Russell's in the back going, "Do it,
Anakin." Have you seen the screen grab of Dr. Falls, and it's like Moffat every time he sees a new interesting companion, and it's John Sims Master going, kill it.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
I mean, he does have a reputation.
He does, and for a man that is scared of death, he once again reversed it, and also it allowed us to get to know the Doctor, which is good considering it was kind of a companion-like episode for most of it.
I really enjoyed. I'll let you guys. I'm sorry. I have a lot of thoughts.
It's fine. I think what we want you for big opinions.
I think this episode really, even though she was only in it really for half of it, I think this episode did a great job of showing what Ruby's like as a companion, because we learned 2 really good things about her here. One was the way that she almost gave me Clara vibes, in the way that she did not stand down. She didn't listen to what the Doctor was saying. She was like, no, I'm going to pass at you because it's the most safe option for you, and I don't care what you're telling me, I'm going to do it. Like, I liked that, but also the bit I especially loved from Ruby was discovering how she problem solves through music. That was like the way that she got the Doctor to sing what I can't remember what the song was called now. The Skyboat song, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like the way that she got him to sing that, and then was like, "I will pat it to you on the word sky," and like that was so clever and so cool to see someone who does that. Because as someone who is a musician and very rhythmic, that's a lot of the time that's also how my brain works. So it was really cool finding a companion who does that and seeing that that's how she solves problems. And I also really like the fact that she took initiative later on with the ambulance and was like, "Oh, it's a combat detected. Okay, let's shoot some. Let's fire the gun. Let's get its attention." Like, I like that she didn't need to be prompted to do that. She thought of that herself. It was nice to see that because, not without meaning to this turn into just slagging off Chibnall, that isn't really something that Jodie's companions, I think, would have done, really.
No. Well, you never got the sense of that, did you, really? But
no.
like we already, like I said, for me, this should have been like an episode 2 or an episode 1. This should have been, I mean, it would have been a bit fucking much for, here's your first adventure. I'm standing on a landmine. But it gave that thing of, oh, this is why the Doctor needs Ruby and why Ruby needs the Doctor. Like, by the end of this episode, you completely get them. You get their relationship and you get why they're together, which I think we've not really seen in the previous 3 now, have we? Obviously, like, you're not going to get that when they first meet, but the last 2, we've not really felt that until now, for me especially.
Yeah, this was Ruby's obligatory "you're going to be traumatized" adventure. Like, obviously, Donna kind of had it with Pfizer, Pompeii, and Planet of the Ood. Amy had it with The Beast Below, where she had to make that horrible decision. Clara had it with... actually, when did Clara have her first big trauma episode? That's a debate. But yeah, this was Ruby's obligatory "you are now traumatized" episode, because she died. I also really liked that, at least, given the fact that a Deus Ex Machina is meant to reverse everything that happened, this didn't feel like a Deus Ex Machina ending, because apart from Ruby being brought back to life by the ambulance, which, I'm willing to believe that an ambulance that far ahead in the future is able to do that to someone who's only recently died. It was kind of nice that not everything got reversed, Splice's dad stayed dead. Apart from Ruby, everyone who died in this episode stayed dead.
Yeah.
Which was kind of nice to see. It was kind of nice that not everyone else was brought back.
Yeah, it weren't really wobbly, timey-wimey nonsense. It was as real as sci-fi can get in some areas.
It was a surprisingly straightforward plot for Moffat, really, but I think that was to his benefit, really.
Yeah, as I think we've had the big, loud, bombastic, "Oh, look, I'm clever, I'm so unpredictable" Moffat, like I say, eons ago. Of course, everyone sort of comes back, grows. If you're talking about Russell's writing, David is one of the best consistent actors of the last decade, post 2010 Doctor Who. Of course, people have had their breaks, they come back, and they mature, they turn into fine wine, and Moffat did things that we didn't clearly expect, the way Moffat usually does.
Did either of you think he was out of ideas?
No.
I didn't not creatively studied, but he does a lot of the like Sherlock, last series of Sherlock and the Dracula series I watched.
Yeah.
It was it has the tendency of there's a secret organization running behind the scenes of this thing that I'm doing, and it was a bit like, oh, has he just come to the point where he's just going to do the same thing 3 or 4 times? Because he loves a secret organization, this guy. But maybe the time away was, because like Russell come back with new ideas. So far, not all of them have been great. But I think it works for someone like Moffat to be just a guest writer to pop up and do this, because it's not like he's writing another 50, 60 episodes of the show.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we know of.
But it felt like Russell T Davies era Moffat, which is just, it makes you think, it freaks you the fuck out in places. It gets the best out of the actors. I think, we can maybe go on a different list, but we're not going to do it now, of maybe Moffat episodes tend to get the best performances out of
people,
actors when he writes Doctor Who, because he's just so detailed and so, like I said, he just bleeds this show. Like maybe
you said
he's
earlier, I don't think anyone writes the Doctor like he does. I think all the people who've written for the Doctor, I'm gonna preface this in the modern era, because obviously classic era I've not seen all of it. I don't think anyone understands. I don't think anyone understands the character of the Doctor more than Moffat does in terms of New Who. Like, he just gets that character and knows how to write things that would believably get under his skin and, you know, unnerve him and put him in a situation he's not used to. And I don't think anyone does it quite like him.
No. I also felt, I don't know if you guys felt it as well, like Space Babies was a bit hand-holdy in terms of like being for the American audience more than us.
Yeah.
Not just with the broadcast time, but with when he's like thinking about the button, you know, when the bogeyman's about to be dragged out, and then it flashes back because it's like, you need to know that this is what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
Moffat is just like, this is what I'm doing, either play along or fuck off.
Exactly.
And,
that's what I always appreciated about his era of Doctor Who, for the most part, is it was not very hand-holdy at all. And I always appreciated that he was basically going, right, I've had this big, convoluted, grand idea. You're along for the ride. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Moffat at his finest.
Yeah, essentially. I also think this episode did a really good job of ratcheting up the tension bit by bit, and in believable ways as well. Like the way that each character got brought into the scene on the landmine. Like, you know, first the little girl came along because she heard her dad's voice. Then Mundy came along because she was looking for the girl. Then the other guy came along because he was looking for her. And then obviously the ambulance heard the injury. Like everything felt believable. Nothing felt like it was a stretch, really. I could see an argument that maybe the resolution is a little bit of a stretch, but like, I was so invested in the episode, and I thought everything else was so good that I was like, you know, I can believe that. It works for me. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it does need another rewatch, well, sooner rather than later, to maybe get those thoughts maybe finalised. Because we're not just looking at this through a Silver Cloud lens. We're not looking at this through Stephen Moffat Cloud 9 viewing. So maybe a rewatch or two, we might not say drastically change our opinions of it or put the score down or anything, because we still stand by this is definitely an amazing episode for a season yet so early on. Even though it's saying that it's episode 4 next week, isn't it? So we're already halfway through.
Literally.
I just can't believe that he made an episode this good that pretty much takes place in one spot for almost the entire thing.
Exactly.
Almost the entire episode takes place in this crater. And I understand other episodes have done that. Obviously, Midnight's a really good example. The whole episode takes place in one carriage of a train. But I'd almost argue this is an even greater example of that, because the Doctor was literally in one spot for 95% of the episode. And Ncuti managed to give that performance whilst not being able to move.
His poor leg. His poor leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was a bit like it felt like a play.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was like the stage, like you say, was great. The reason they all come into the story, it was just it was just different to what we've had so far, and I think that's what was a bit like, when it's not going to be all just like running around. Look at all the new CGI budget and monsters we've got.
Yeah.
It was like you say, like it was just Ncuti's performance. You take Ruby out the equation. Yes, we can forgive the Deus Ex Machina, resurrection machine. But there's no other words I can say apart from I really fucking enjoyed this and I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah.
And I've already watched it twice. I've had such a good time with it. Shall we wrap it up and give our scores and maybe ponder what comes next? Andy, if you want to go first about your final thoughts and how you would rate the episode.
I mean, I said this on Twitter, and granted this was after it first aired, So, like, maybe I'd knock it down on a rewatch just because I feel like I shouldn't be just throwing out 10s, but, like, this was pretty fucking close to being perfect, in my opinion. I really, even after I watched it again yesterday, I can't really think of anything that would knock it down from being practically perfect. Like, it's a perfectly done, well-contained, or self-contained story that somehow manages to make standing in one spot the most gripping piece of television I've watched in years. It was it was so good. I'd honestly, I'm gonna say 9, but honestly, I could be persuaded to give it a 10 and not keep it there.
I completely get that. Maybe if we do a series retrospective, you'll be like, no, I was right. It was a 10. Fuck you guys. Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I can't get over the premise. It's just the in Shooty's poor foot on a mine, and that's all we knew what the episode was going to be. Again, it could have been this episode with a CGI background. Oh, look at this cool budget. Look at these cool lasers. Oh my God, it's a space battle, but the Doctor can't move. And it wasn't that at all. It was essentially like a space theatre play, how all the cast kind of came in from like center left, center stage right, exit stage middle, whatever it's just exit center stage. It, like you say, it felt like a theatre of just staring at Shooty and his poor foot situation. But it was done in the most dramatic yet believable but gorgeously sci-fi way possible. Like, it was a phenomenal... It wasn't what any of us thought going into it, and that plays to its biggest strength. It definitely just wasn't how I thought any of it would go down. Time when it comes to rewatching it again, because I haven't had the fortunate time to go back to it as such, it will be one that I will look at very fondly sooner rather than later. And again, this along with Devil's Cord, are two shining beacons that hopefully don't freaking dwindle as this season has gone on. But no, honestly, I think score-wise, I think I'll be safe and go with Andy. I'll give it a 9, but it honestly could be a 0.5. If I was doing points and middle scores, I would give it 9.5. I'll see how the rewatch goes for me personally, but I was just on the edge of my seat and just staring at Shooty's feet the whole time.
I was gripped. I have not been that gripped in an episode of anything, but let alone Doctor Who in probably since World Enough in Time the Doctor Falls, honestly.
And it literally could have been the most simple premise, but it just wasn't what any of us thought it was going to be. And I think that's just what made it click with all of us, proper Whovians, dare I say. But yeah, George, what would you say? What would you give?
I mean, I feel like I can just echo your gentleman's fabulous comments. It was different to what we've seen. It was new. It allowed us to know our characters. It gave Shooty one of the best Doctor performances. Because they always say that, Moffat always writes these grand fucking speeches for doctors. And jokingly, maybe we'll get like one for Shooty. But all we got was that amazing performance. He even got to reuse... I don't know if you guys know some of them lines from. He wanted to put in, I think it was World Enough in Time Doctor Falls, like when he's dying, like he wanted to put the snow line in that, but he always
I saw that on Twitter
in there. So we finally got that. It just it just sparkled. Everything just kind of felt like Doctor Who. Like this has felt like an older episode of Doctor Who in the last couple of weeks. I've enjoyed the new stuff. I've enjoyed what we've got out of it. Like you say, Jinx Monsoon. I really fucking hope she comes back and we get more of that character of Maestro, because that felt like someone who could return at any point. There's the ongoing mystery with that fucking woman. Like, who is she? Like, she's the ambulance now.
She's everywhere.
Is it Susan? I fucking
wants to kill the doctor.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we got to it's the second time that Moffat's put a companion that comes next in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not his companion to do that with this time, but yeah, it's weird that it happened twice. It all felt great, and it was it flew by. I don't know for anyone else, like that 45 minutes just fucking went. Like before I knew it, like it was 10 minutes left, and then Connor was here. Like it was great when I rewatched it earlier. was like, fucking hell, I love this episode. I would say the same as you, Andy. It's basically a borderline 10, but for safety reasons, I'll give it a 9.
Health and safety, folks. We've been to a minefield.
Look, we're all just completely pussyfooting around giving it a 10 because we're all like, oh, but what if something better happens later? But honestly,
It might not.
It might not, yeah. Although I am excited for what's coming, especially I'm going to pull my pin out of my Sarah Jane comment earlier. What do you guys think of what do you guys think about the theories of Ruby's character?
Oh, so is this the theory that you wanted to discuss?
Yes.
So I've said, because obviously I don't know if you've listened to it, and I don't know if I mentioned it because we filmed both episodes back to back, like as one, and then I split it up. So I don't remember where I talked about this. But are you going to talk about the trickster theory?
Yeah.
Go for it, Andy. Go for it, man. Because I'm so here for it.
I wouldn't be as convinced as I am if it wasn't for the fact that the music that she sang is note for note what was played in Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane. Like, I just can't look over that as a coincidence because when you listen to them side by side, that melody is the same, and I'm like, there's no way that's a coincidence, especially with all the other coincidences that are now popping up. It's like with Clyde having the cube in the I can't remember what they call it now, the TARDIS, the memory TARDIS episodes. Like,
and we know the memory TARDIS is coming, don't we?
Yes, yeah, we know that's a thing as well. It's like that being so prominent in that particular episode, they're filming on the same pier where Sarah Jane and Andrea swap places, and it's like set to take place, I think, the year after that happens. Like, there's too many coincidences. And also, like, the fact that we know that the trickster is from a group called the Pantheon of Discord, and we know that the Toymaker and Maestro are from this elusive pantheon, so I'm like, there's too many coincidences for this not to at least be a thing. And I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that Russell T. Davies was quoted as saying that his idea for Ruby and her storyline was something that he'd wanted to do like for a long time and never got a chance to. And we know that was the initial plan with Sky in the last series of Sarah Jane. Like, we know that if Elizabeth Sladen hadn't unfortunately passed away when she did, the plan was that Sky was going to be the Trickster's daughter.
And it would have originally been bought. She would have been brought to her by the Matt Smith incarnation. Was meant to drop her off on the doorstep.
Okay. I didn't know that bit.
Yeah, but they changed it to I forget the guy's name, but they changed it to him just because the way the scheduling was with Series 6 and the filming schedule, they just couldn't get it done, which Russell was gutted about. But
yeah, it's I don't usually like to speculate as much because I don't want to look like an idiot when it turns out not to be the case. But I just feel like there's too many coincidences for there to be at least something in this theory.
It will probably be addressed in the very near future. And we, the audience in the future, are probably laughing at this because we're so close in many ways and probably wrong in a lot of areas as well.
Also, the finale is called, or the first part is called The Legend of Ruby Sunday. And we know that since the actions of Wild Blue Yonder, myths and legends are now able to break into our universe.
Yeah.
So is the legend of Ruby Sunday this person that's been created? Because I don't know if you know this, Andy, as well. The original plan for Rose.
What was the original plan for Rose?
So before Boomtown was written, because Boomtown was a late edition, Boomtown had to be done because they'd basically run out of budget. So then Russell wrote Boomtown and we got what we got. But it was going to be revealed in that the Doctor had sort of manufactured and altered Rose's life to create the perfect companion and like meddled with her timeline.
I've heard something about this, yeah.
So, and we'd sort of debated, I think, like either, in the episode 2 stuff or episode 1 stuff, like, is it Russell using, like you say, like he's using up storylines that he never got to do in terms of the Sky, Trickster baby slash, archetype in a companion. Like, could the Doctor or a version of the Doctor or like a Time Lord have had something to do?
Yeah.
Like, especially if there's rumors that Susan's involved in some capacity. Has a member of Time Lord Society meddled in someone that's going to become part of the Doctor's life and help the Trickster or something like that? Like, could it be something on that level of catastrophicness?
Big Bang.
Yeah, I can see that theory being true as well, and I wouldn't be mad at it. Like, it's an interesting idea, and it does fit into the whole sort of everything that's happened since Wild Blue Yonder of, like you said, myths and legends becoming almost a reality, and that allowing these like gods to come into the human realm. But like, personally, just because I was such a big fan of Sarah Jane Adventures as a kid, I would love to see the Trickster appear in actual Who, because I've said for many, many years that the Trickster was too good of a villain to just be solely kept in and I don't mean this in a way to belittle Sarah Jane Adventures, because I do think it is probably the better spin-off, but
in terms of overall quality, yes.
Yeah.
Apart from Class.
I think sorry, go on.
Apart from Class.
Yeah, I liked Class. Class was good.
Class series 2. That's what we want, Russell. Bring back Miss Quill.
Oh yeah, just for Miss Quill alone, bring back Class. Yeah, just I always thought the Trickster was way too good to be purely in the quote unquote kids spin-off of Doctor Who. And I genuinely think the Trickster is a very creepy, quite scary character who, if you put him in the more grown-up main show, I think you could do a much darker stuff with. And they already went quite dark in Sarah Jane Adventures anyway with his stuff, so yeah, I'd love to see what they could do with him in the main show.
Like, he was kind of reduced and limited to just trying to stop her existing in different ways. And I know it was a bit like, oh, the Trickster's back again, but he was like you say, limited to that, because it's very rare that I think a villain created in the spin-off gets the kudos to be in the main show. Yes. Whereas you had stuff like the Jadoon and the Slitheen, they felt like they could be more kid-appropriate villains, so it worked for them to go over that way. But I would have loved to have seen, because we had David in, obviously we had him in Doctor Who. I don't know if anyone knew that, but we also had him in Sarah Jane Adventures. So it would have been nice to maybe had that thread, because he mentions the gate, he mentions the end of the Doctor's life that's coming, so he knew all of that. So it would be creepy and oddly poetic for us, because we've had a mention of Sarah Jane from Shooty in The End of the Giggle. So we know that that universe is still alive and, well, the characters are. We've seen Clyde, like you say. We've had the music, the Trickster's music being used in Ruby's Soul or whatever it was by Maestro. I'd love it to just give that last sort of bit of, here's a fragment of Sarah Jane that we never got to deal with. And maybe that's when we get to see Clyde and Rani and Luke and Santiago Jones and whoever else was in it. K9.
I mean, what if it's both? What if the Trickster made the Doctor's perfect companion as a trick for him to lure him in? And we already know he's taken with Ruby because of the whole mystery surrounding who her parents are. I can see him potentially doing both at the same time and having it be that the Trickster's made the Doctor's perfect companion.
And with Sarah Jane obviously in canon being dead now, he's got nothing left to meddle with that. So now the only other person to meddle with is the Doctor, maybe. He's going for the big one.
Yeah.
Because she's fought him all her life and held him at bay, and now she's not standing in his way, so he can finally get to the Doctor, which he wanted to do in the... he mentions it in the wedding, doesn't he? Of Sarah Jane. He wants to... he wants to get to the Doctor and change that timeline.
He mentioned it in Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane as well. When she's in the sort of the never space and he's speaking to her, even says I've gone into your memories. I'm gonna go see what I can find out about this Doctor, and so that from his very first appearance, it was very obvious he was interested in who the Doctor was. Before I forget as well, this is not related to the or anything, but it is Ruby related. I remembered something I was going to mention earlier. Possibly my favourite bit of acting from Millie in boom. And also just for Ruby, like, this broke my heart. The part when she was dying on the floor and the ambulance was, like, scanning her, and when it was glitching saying next of kin, it absolutely tore my heart out that she wasn't pleading for her life. She was just pleading to hear who her next of kin were. It was like she didn't even care if she died. She just wanted that closure. And that was, like, heart-wrenching.
Yeah, like whether it be for her mum or whether like she had a family in the future or something, like she wanted like who is it? Who is there for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of hope that whoever her family turns up, I do hope that the whole message for her character just kind of end up being the family is kind of the one you choose to have, because I think her adopted mum and her adopted I think they're lovely and they're great characters, and I'd love for the message to be basically a case of like, it doesn't matter who you were born to, what's important, you know, these are your family, the family are the people you choose to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not necessarily by blood or the ones that are contractively, I say contractively, they're the ones that are meant to raise you. It's like you say, the ones who you choose to be around with and the ones that bring you joy in return, they are your family, like essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be the message. Whatever happens, like that will be the tagline. It'll be like, yeah, come on board the TARDIS next season, yes, or next Christmas. That'll be the end of the season. But come on, Ruby, we've got a lot of rubes to do.
The tea's getting cold. I rewatched just a random side, just very random throwaway. I rewatched Remembrance of the Daleks last week, and that's still a very good story. That was very fun.
Mm-hmm. So we are all unanimous in our love for this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do we think of the next time trailer for? You mentioned it like briefly there, Andy, for 73 Yards.
I mean, since we didn't get a lot of Ruby in this episode, I'm very excited to have an episode that seems to be purely about her. Potentially getting some answers,
like companion-like episodes.
Yeah, potentially getting some answers
without Ruby being an assassin.
Maybe,
hopefully.
Yeah. Very intrigued to potentially get some answers for Susan Twist and who the fuck she is. I've already clocked. I think the title of the... Don't quote me on this. Actually, no, if I'm right, do quote me on this. If I'm wrong, don't. I reckon the title is a reference to... Like, because Ruby mentioned in the trailer, like, the sort of woman who keeps following me. What if it's a case of, like, she's always 73 yards away from her, and that's where the title comes from? Like, she's she's never closer than 73 yards away. She's always at that distance away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good theory.
I think that's going to be the title. I like that idea.
I really do now. It makes it 10 times creepier if that is the case.
Yeah. It reminds me of that line in, I think it's in Smile, which is an underrated episode, I think, where I think Bill says, "Why aren't they running?" or something like that, and the doc says, like, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's the bit where he's like, what's scary about a monster that doesn't run after you is that it indicates that it knows it's going to catch you.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this idea that she's always a set distance away, and that's all she needs to terrify Ruby, because like whoever she is knows that, you know, she's got her wherever she wants her or whatever.
That's very, very true. Very good. Is it Russell's episode next?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Intrigued for it. Obviously, we'll be talking about that with the lovely Dominic G. Martin. We'll be returning after the Church.
Dominic!
He'll be here for 73 Yards, and then week after that we get Michael back. So we'll see what one of our many overlords gets to say.
I like how you get some big names like Dom's a really big name in the community, like doing so much cool shit out there, and then you just get me. Hello.
Yeah, look, Andy. Without you, there is no this and our appreciation somehow within the community. Me and you and Mike talking about, you know, Torchwood Children of Earth all those many eons ago has spawned this, and it's always lovely to have you on.
We haven't even mentioned Kylie yet. Like, I'm shocked. That is the summary. That is how good this episode is. It made us not talk about Kylie for over an hour.
Yeah. Put that on the poster. And I also think
on the poster.
Had we talked about The Devil's Called, I think we would have mentioned the musical talent of Kylie Minogue within that a lot more. And then we would have got
If we were talking about The Devil's Called, I absolutely would have gone into my theory that the episode should have ended, or my show should have been defeated by Kylie Minogue popping out of the piano and just performing Padam Padam with an army of gays.
I mean, I want to see that version. I don't know about you guys. Stick that on Unleashed. I want the full routine now.
Do it, Russell. We know you listen. Give the gays what we want.
Hashtag give the gays what they want. We can put that up there with Brian Blessed as last week's fucking hashtag. maybe the hashtag's still a story. Brian Blessed, give the gays what they want.
Jesus.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's like the Star Wars titles. Maybe it's telling a secret story. Andy, as always, a pleasure to speak to you. Before we get you to plug your stuff, would you like to, seeing as he's writing Christmas specials this year, I don't know if he's writing more than one. I don't know why I said specials.
It's free coming out Christmas.
my brain just disintegrated in my head. Would you like to talk about Joy to the World with us at Christmas?
Of course.
Would you like to share your joy with us at Christmas?
We could sing a song. We could do carols.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Shall we?
I'll get my guitar.
Connor can be Santa, and me and you can be the Randy Elves.
Why am I Santa? Why the fuck am I Santa? The least Christmas.
You've got the beard.
Exactly.
Why am I Saint Nick?
And me and Andy can be the Randy Elves that break into song every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Now, how many Christmas songs has Kylie done? Actually, I can already think. I can already. You know, the funny thing is, I can already think of at least 3. So there we go.
I couldn't think of any. You'll have to write them down and get us prepared for Christmas.
Oh, her version of The Most Wonderful Time of the Year is my favorite version of that song. So there we go.
Oh, wicked! I can't wait for that. Andy, plug your stuff before we leave. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you back on, mate, and always a joy to talk to you. Where can the people find you?
Thank you for having me. It's always a joy to be on. I'm so glad that you guys think of me whenever Doctor Who comes up. If anything is going to my legacy, it is going to be that whenever Doctor Who comes up on Nerd Bible, I am thought of, if purely just because I bring Kylie into us all.
Kylie and Joy, that's what you bring every week.
You know what the funniest thing about the whole Kylie meme is? I don't even listen to her that much. I'm into heavy metal. Like, I'm into heavy rock music, but every time I come on here, I'm like, yeah, Kylie!
I love Neighbours. Fuck it.
Put some shrimp on the Barbie, man. Anyway, where can you find me? I'm
together.
I'm probably most active on Twitter, where I have been posting my Doctor Who thoughts. You can find me there. It's just Andy Kemp 96. I do have a podcast that I am on that has not put out a new episode in a while because our editor has just not wanted to edit. But if you fancy hearing me, my partner, and one of our best friends just talking absolute bollocks for hours on end, go check out We Pay For Your Floor. I'm still very proud of it. It is very funny. It is very stupid. It is just me, my partner of now over a decade. Oh yeah, that happened since last time I spoke to you. Me and Phil celebrate 10 years together. Yeah, it's just me, my partner of a decade, and one of our best friends talking absolute shite. And it's great fun. We love doing it. I hope we can start making it again soon. I would say find me on Twitch, but I haven't streamed for about 2 years because I got a job. It's something I want to get back into because I do miss doing it. And now that I have set shifts at work each week, I can probably fit it around my schedule a little bit easier. But yeah, we will see where that goes. But yes, if you like hearing me ramble, go to my Twitter for mostly Doctor Who, Drag Race, and Eurovision. Although less Eurovision this year because that was a shit show. But yeah, that's me. It's Switzerland, and rightfully so. They had a great song.
Hooray!
It was a great song about the artist's discovery of them being non-binary, and I don't know how the fuck they performed like they did because they sound fucking opera and rapped whilst running around on a disc. And as a singer, I was out of breath just watching them do it because I was like, how the fuck are you hitting these notes whilst running on this thing? I can barely sing as I walk. Like, how are you? How? Yeah.
Jesus.
It was very good. But yes, if for some reason you like what I'm, if you like my vibe, the cut of my jib, whatever you want to call it.
I like the cut of your jib, boy.
Yeah, the cut of my jib is wonderful. Go to Twitter, or please do check out We Pay for Your Floor. We will hopefully be doing new episodes soon, and you can guarantee that once we will arrange to have Connor and George on because it is long overdue. I will say, we have tried getting them on before. It's just schedules kept clashing.
Yeah, the rent didn't go through. We tried playing for the floor, but the freaking rent, the card cancelled it on us. We didn't get the payment in time.
Yeah, it was my fault for having a kid. Sorry.
Yeah, and
How you became a dad and fucked us all over.
I did. That's on my business card.
And not having set shifts every week as well would really help.
I'm near enough okay with that, and I'm waiting on an interview, so maybe it gets better. Maybe.
Woo!
But Connor, do the thing that I implore you to do most.
Implore me to do this.
Where are we? Who am I? And who are you?
Well, none of us are doctors, unfortunately. Spoiler alert. But thank you for listening to us. You've somehow found us across the platform known as YouTube, made especially for you and us. YouTube, you know the drill, Pacey Sheep across all the channels. The social medias, which every person in the world can't live without. Your Facebook, your Twitters, your Instagrams, MySpace, if some dodgy URL version is still out there on the dark web somewhere. MSN Messenger, ideally Twitch. But then eventually we'll have an XBL, Xbox Live gamer tag. We'll have a PlayStation Network pin.
Oh no! Oh my god! No! We have to do an episode where we just chat shit about Doctor Who whilst playing like Apex Legends together on the Xbox. That'd be fucking funny.
I'm down for that. We'll do it live on Twitch. An anniversary special, maybe.
Live on Twitch.
That'd be so funny.
TikTok. And that's all from me, I think.
Did you do the email?
Oh no, shit! and for the people that don't have typewriters but still send typewriter stuff through a computer, electronic mail, nerdbiblecontact@gmail.com. We want theories, we want speculations. Give us your thoughts on just Doctor Who or anything you want to talk to us about. Really,
we want images of llamas. Please send those.
Yes, more of those. All of the images.
Photoshops, everything. Yes, send them all to us. Give Michael a break from time to time.
And until next time, enjoy more Doctor Who and get your questions in. Andy, you can send us a question next week to ask Dom. My voice is really
I can.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Bye, guys. Thank you, Andy, as always. You are a pleasure,
Thank you for having me. Remember, that is when good neighbours become good friends.
We should do a musical rendition of the Neighbours theme tune on Twitch.
Do you mean just the Neighbours theme tune?
Yeah.
It's already a musical, it's a theme tune.
No, but like...